Ladies and gentlemen, good evening for the Circle Jump podcast. And we are live, certainly, with, at some point, also my webcam working. There we go, I thought this probably was something that I missed. There we go, now we could change over. Welcome. In the break, you've been listening to the wonderful music of Bavin. And with that, we can here start for another round, here the 20th of April, 2017. And joining me, as always, we also, of course, are going to be having Maku. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
And I also remember to turn on the sounds for everyone. Cool. So, yeah. What about you, Ghoster? You also here? Yes.
Yeah, I'm also here, live and present, and I'm also doing fine. No worries, everything's alright.
That's so lovely. And finally, also joining us this time around, also the first guest or host, I don't know. I mean, you were pretty much running the show last time we had you on, which was pretty lovely because I couldn't do that. But
was that the first one?
On the very first podcast, we didn't call it the Circle Jump podcast back then.
Yeah,
so I suppose
I wasn't here for that one.
That's right. Yeah, Maku, you were the first guy on this podcast. Yeah, but SevenofNine still, nevertheless, the man, the myth, the legend.
The legend. I've never been on this podcast, to be honest. So that's I really enjoy watching it on YouTube. So now I can feature in it as well. So I'm looking forward to discussing talking shit with you guys.
That's wonderful.
That's what we do.
And we are pretty damn good at it, as far as I know.
At least the last one was pretty damn good.
Man, yeah. The topics today are a little bit in all the kind of directions. And there's also a little bit of few surprises. There was a question mark as a little bit of a teaser on all of the announcements. So, well, we're going to figure out what that is. SevenofNine is certainly going to be happy to tell us. But before that, because apparently already, I thought it actually was only being won in like a week or something, but the tournament that is called Playground of the Gods, which is a really damn cool thing, being won by ZMB and Rocket too, is actually already running right very much at this very moment. Let me just double check and go over here. And actually, there's been just being finished a match right when we have been starting this very podcast. And this very tournament is very much just a 1-versus-1 single elimination, as you can also see here, tournament, in which it's just, well, I think is it the best of 3?
Semi-finals and final are. It's
Okay,
basically
best of one, rest, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's just 10 minutes as far as I know in the first 2 rounds, and then after the quarterfinals, and I think the quarterfinals are still to be played, and the semi-finals and finals are definitely best of 3.
Cool. So
yeah, basically first 1v1 thing we've had since UCL died. There used to be 1v1 tournaments quite a lot on UCL.
I almost got the brackets all in here, but then probably you can't read it on the stream, so who cares. Still, I mean, there's also quite a lot of cool names playing in here. I mean, ZMB, Rocket Rival, of course, playing. You, Maku, are playing.
Yeah, we've got
also, I mean, the match
a
against
mix of players, really, but because it's like the first one, we don't have any seeds, and so we've got like the bracket is completely random, and I think we've got like it's slightly skewed towards having slightly higher skill at like the top of the bracket, but it's just like it doesn't make the tournament worse. It's just something to note.
yeah.
If like they do another one, we'll have seeds for that. But I had to play Exotic in like my first match, which really sucked. But
I like the completely random selection, to be honest. I mean,
yeah, I guess
Yeah, always when I do the draws, for instance, with seeds, I think, okay, but these seeds are also based on, somebody's experience, or you should base it off of Samchun's stats. I'm using the right name.
Is that Shushu?
Shushu, excuse me, yeah, Shushu. Reading two things at the same time. Anyway, but it's really cool that they started this event.
And it's been seemingly also running pretty well. I mean, I haven't heard of any hiccups or anything with that, and it has been announced for like a week ago, I think.
I mean, 1v1s are like, they're not too hard because it's 10 minutes. You just like do it whenever. You don't have to schedule them. You just ask your opponent when they can play.
You're no longer dependent on the availability of like 10 people.
Yeah.
At the least. So yeah, good idea. I hope that they also. I wanted to shoutcast the matches from the semi-finals onwards, so I hope that they get organized as well instead of just played at random. That would be great to give it some well-deserved attention.
Yeah, so we can make sure that they're scheduled for the semi-finals and final. I think that should be possible. Like, it's best of 3 by then, so it's like you have to make sure you have like at least half an hour, but probably a bit more. So you won't be able to do it on the fly. Like, one thing I think that's interesting with this is that like it's got the map system. Something that makes it different from the UCL tournaments is that it's you eliminate maps instead of picking them. So you have 7 maps, but they're all like small maps that all fit in with 1v1, and you just eliminate maps until there's 1 left. So like normally you'd basically have like Turnpike or Dressing Room like almost all the time. At least that's what I remember from UCL. But we've had a lot of matches on stuff like Mykonos and Prominence, which they're actually quite good. So it's nice to see that. Not just having the same maps that I'm used to playing.
Yeah, and I mean, with also just being able to just remove the maps you want instead of picking them, but also just the map pool in and of itself actually looks real damn cool. I mean, Dressing Room, as you say, okay, fan of that, is also in there, and Turnpike, but the rest are really good maps to have in, and if those two are always being removed as the very first thing by everyone.
And I like when we have there's 2 maps. Casablanca is basically a tiny version of Algiers, and Ayers Arcade is a tiny version of Turnpike. So I like these maps where they're maps that you know, but they're condensed down into small enough to play a 1v1. So you know the layouts, but it actually works in a 1v1.
Nice, I actually have then to begin to look at those maps. That sounds really interesting. Or at least just have them laying around, so that and there should be a shortcast at some point with that. Also, of course, other interesting things about this tournament is just that, I mean, did we already say that Shanfara and Shashka have sponsored it?
Yeah. We didn't say that.
Well, they have dropped some 100 euros onto the cash pool here, 80 going to the first place and 20 going also to the second.
Yeah, and Shanfara wants to get his money back because he's playing in this.
Well, I mean, where is exactly Shanfara? Okay, so Shanfara going up against Trusty.
Yeah, and after that, facing off gets Cyrox or Old Dirty Bastard.
Is that what ODB stands for?
I think that it's actually a very old the Saints player, if I'm not mistaken, or at least German player. But
if I'm not mistaken, it's Dadice.
That's like an alias.
German, Austrian player. I'm not sure right now. He lives in Germany, I think, but he used to live in Austria. At least if I'm right there, I think so. But yeah.
I wonder if it's the same guy that used to play like 10 years ago. I recognize the name from 3.x days.
I don't know, and I don't think so. So
Okay, that's a
well.
shame. But yeah, some nice names, that's for sure.
What happens? Oh dear. Oh, Ops, stop messing around. Thank you. Wow. Don't crash anything. Just keep the podcast running. It isn't really difficult. We're just talking. Jesus. Okay.
Now
So
discussing ODB meaning. What the fuck? Lovely.
yeah, thank you. So well, one other thing that I actually just heard of today is, well, I mean, I was also wondering why I wasn't actually contacted by Sashka for quite some time, with actually being told, here are all the videos, let's actually look at, can you vote on them, and give your opinions on them. But apparently, there's only been like 5 of the videos actually being submitted on the deadline. Horizon, Ghoster, Sunshine, Pistol, and Tarquin have all put in the videos already. But I mean, I think there was like a 10 or maybe even 13 of something that actually were signed up for the whole contest. So apparently, I mean, I suppose since Sashka at least says that the voting has been postponed, I would also expect that, well, I mean, the deadline has been moved too. I mean, that is a reasonable assumption, right? So, I mean,
that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of for the guys that work to the deadline. I think that they should get at least a couple of points extra if you're working with a kind of point system.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you're working to a deadline, I know that Ghoster, if I'm not mistaken, you were, well, working hard on it. I remember saying that you're working towards a deadline, etc. So yeah, I can imagine that while working on a deadline, you're also have to make a decision about quality, etc.
Yeah, and I mean, also specifically Ghoster's video actually has some pretty damn cool stuff in it.
Oh, I thought you were about to say it's very clear that he was working on the deadline.
No, I mean, there's the one thing I said when we were talking about the whole contest at first was that that I was always saying, please put time into the music. And Ghoster actually has put time into the music, which is something that I just find lovely. Let's see, can I do... so
oh god.
But and also, I mean, the whole visuals thing, which is also, I mean, I would want to know actually how did you do that, because you also did something in the game but also a filter afterwards, right? Because the visuals actually look real damn interesting. It's really clean.
Yeah, apparently I'm using a custom built engine. At some point there was something called cell shading.
Yeah, exactly.
Built into an engine, which was then considered as cheating when being asked about it. Both FS and UZ replied with, "That's actually forbidden." So the feature was removed. So don't use it in any competitive play or whatever. Nevertheless, I still got the version, and therefore I had to recompile it to make it use with 4.1 demos, because originally the other one was only for 4.2. So yeah, took a little bit of work, but yeah. In the end, I think it paid off.
Sorry, did I just read that my voice and Knurkus' voice is also in this?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I've got to watch it now.
Well,
awesome.
back in the days, like 2011, you casted a lot with Knurkus, and
I know.
Yeah.
I still visit the pub regularly with Knurkus.
Oh. Greet him from me.
Well, I'll show it to him, that's for sure.
But yeah, so. But yeah, to get back to the whole deadline thing, it really does. I mean, it does in a lot of ways actually suck. I mean, at least I think it's going to be like a voting point system. So you're going to being allowed to put £5 maybe down on something or something like that. Maybe you're going to be allowed to rank them all, and the ranking is also some kind of the points. But then you should probably, at least I think, find the average on the people who actually did on time, and then also the average on those who actually were not on time, and if actually the ones who actually posted on time were actually having an average that is lower, you would have to add at least that to compensate or something like that. I mean, it's probably hard to do anything like that with only 5 people, since I mean it's maybe not statistically relevant. Or
well, I mean, you could also. I mean, there's a prize linked to this, right? You could also.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole. Yeah.
You could also just simply rate the videos as they are, deduce like part of the prize from the winner if they pass the deadline. But yeah, I mean, there are so many ways to.
Well, in the end, especially for me as someone who submitted on time, I think I was 24 hours too early, because I just said, okay, if I just put more time into it, I will ruin it, because in 24 hours, especially if you have to go to university and all that stuff, you can never get a complete, awesome new feature that would be added. But now hearing that the deadline might be extended by like 10 days, and at least I feel cheated, because the prize pool I think is like $250. I don't really care.
What? Is it so much?
It's like 50 or 60 euros, together with then also a lot of interesting gear, like a pretty damn cool mechanical keyboard and everything.
Yeah, so
mice.
Most likely, in case I would win something, I might donate it to Frozen Sand or so, because I don't really care about the money. But in general, just the thing that there's a set deadline, people kind of try to keep it, try to work. Like I spent so many hours on the weekend before the submission deadline, just to get everything fine and perfect. But yet that others might have 1 or 2 weeks more time. At least that's the impression I personally have.
Yeah, I can imagine that's very frustrating. But I mean, if you would deduce like if it's on a ranking system of 10, for instance, and deduce like 2 points from people who put it in too late. Yeah, I guess that would make it a little bit more fair. I mean, it's still, I can imagine that you feel cheated, but then again, you also still have the chance to edit your video further. Although, yeah, when you're finished with a project, you want to be finished with a project.
Well, the thing is, nobody said it. I think in the email I got was like, the results might be delayed a little bit because not everybody submitted at the right time. That's the email I got the day after the deadline, and from then on, I haven't heard anything. So telling me now, well, I could have continued working on it. Nobody dropped the message. So basically another 10, 11 days gone where I didn't do anything. So just because there's some misinformation. Well, I don't really want to rant about it, but at least for me, it feels disappointing, because it's, in my opinion, a really good opportunity where really good frag movie makers signed up, and therefore can really showcase urban terror in a really good way. And well, having some, in my opinion, organizational problems is hurting.
Well,
hurting the entire contest.
To play a devil's advocate just for a little minute here. So I suppose the reason why HD Development would want to do this is because, I mean, their whole brand is under this whole thing. So, I mean, they want to have the best product to show also to the investors and everyone else afterwards, so that they are linked with a good product. And giving more time to more people, they can then also have something better as the first place. But yeah, well,
I mean, nobody
then my
would be
Devil's Advocate
pleased.
already.
But I think you've got a really good point. I mean, they put good money against this event, like €250. I just heard. That's yeah. I mean, obviously they didn't expect that there would only be 5 submissions. That's to be sure.
Apparently 7 people signed up, so
Okay, only
that's,
7.
that's in my opinion a good quote.
I just heard
Anyway.
10 when we started this.
I was thinking it
but-
was 10. I was hearing that.
But then
from
again, I mean,
Sascha.
you do want to get. You're attaching your brand to maybe a classical urban terror frag movie, and well, if you go to YouTube, some of those things can rack up thousands, if not tens of thousands of views. So yeah, it's a fair point that you're making as a devil's advocate. Still, it's
Apparently
Yes.
8 signed up.
Okay.
Just double checked it.
So 8 signed up. I think also someone was signing up like a few days too late or something, and he was also allowed to go in. I don't know if he's also counted there, but so still, nevertheless, 5 out of 8 having submitted on time. And I mean, of those names, I only know that I think Rocket was also signed up, but hasn't been
I like
able to
Rocket's
post it.
videos. He has a really, I don't know how he gets the like graphics looking so good, but especially like, even after you upload it to YouTube, it still looks good.
I always just like render it in way too high quality and then just hope that YouTube just doesn't fuck it up, because, well, if anything, YouTube is just, it does also want a compression afterwards.
Yeah, that's the thing that surprises me when I watch Rocket's YouTube videos. It doesn't look like they've been recompressed, even though they have.
Well, it looks, yeah, I mean, it does still go down to 3 megabytes per second, or megabit per second, because when I download them again, it actually is at that. But when
sorry, go on.
But when I upload it though, I always am going to go, I'm at least going for 10 megabit per second at 60 FPS. Probably I should actually go higher with an MP4 file with H.264 codec. Maybe some of that is something you could do. I mean, you want to have something with a high quality and also something that YouTube does understand.
So some of those rendering software really have specific YouTube settings. Premiere Pro, for instance, has a really good one. So yeah, you don't notice it as much as others. Anyway, it's all up to Sascha pretty much. I mean, he's the big boss of HDDev. So yeah. Now discussing YouTube.
Hey, at least I'm remembering to update it. Now we're going to be starting the show with now discussing goodbye.
Yeah, that was a couple of shows ago.
Slowly, I am not messing up too hard, and I'm also getting enough water, so I'm not going to be blanking out or anything.
Anyway, should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on to
announcement.
Who should I do? Well, SevenofNine, you can take over from here if you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's been 5 years since the last knockout. Since we started knockout, and it's been over a year since the last knockout. Well, this morning I had a little bit of time since I've got a so 5 years
and
since
rough
the last
version
of the video that you're seeing right now. It's really rough, and it will be a lot smoother, hopefully, when I render it finally and upload it to YouTube. What this means is that there's a new knockout coming your way with exactly the same maps that we played 5 years ago in the very first knockout. Although this map that's in your screen right now, oh wait, there's a delay, Ramel, might be exchanged for a different map, or maybe moved up. moved up a slot because it was quite hard, according to Biddle. His memory is like an elephant. He remembered that Ramel was too big for so few players. So within now and 3 weeks, there will be an announcement that people can sign up for the upcoming knockout tournament. Subscribers will have a free slot. Defending champions, aka Rocket, has a free slot as well. And this is so lovely watching Herring again. I was so pleased with the smooth transitioning, but the date obviously is completely wrong in the video, and the time probably as well. But within now and 3 weeks, it will be published, and you guys can sign up.
Yeah, I remember playing in that. It's so fun. It's actually it's really good. And I'll just say that if you want to sign up, you do need to be quick, because there's 15 slots, I believe, and it fills up quite quickly.
Yeah, I could expect.
Yeah, usually we open the signups on the Wednesday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and people know when the deadline will be or when it gets open. So it's first come, first served. But yeah, subscribers of the twitch.tv/urbanzone channel have a free slot.
Should I misuse it?
No, but that really used to attract quite a couple of subs for the channel, which is very good for promoting the channel and getting some money for events and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, Knockout 2017, it's going to happen, and hopefully maybe more than just one in 2016. But most of the work, it's not really shoutcasting that afternoon. I have plenty of free afternoons, but it's selecting the right map and that sort of stuff.
That's why you took the ones from the first edition, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To have less work.
Yeah, certainly. No, absolutely. And I mean, it's also been 5 years ago, so I was looking back at those videos. Is this actually the one from 5 years ago, Ikslorin?
I can find the very first one if you want.
Oh no,
this
you don't
is, I
have
think,
to.
number
But I was
4.
just wondering. Yeah, okay, because I remember that. I mean, players like Anderson, etc., and were playing. It was a lot of fun, that's for sure.
It's a wonderful format that is just won in 2 or 3 hours. It's really nice tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it also got quite a bit of positive attention. I wasn't part of Frozen Sand back then, but Frankie V was completely ecstatic and even made his own map for it. So yeah, that's maybe one for
right?
Exactly, kill room. And there were more people that made small maps, which are actually also being used. Aya's Arcade, if I'm not mistaken, is also one of them, or at least what was it made for? I think it was for a specific event. Anyway.
Wasn't it Winter Cup? Because it
that might have been Winter Cup. Yeah, exactly, with the custom maps. Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. I played that one and I didn't do well. I think there was a Blizzard one where you can't see anything because it's all snowy. I hated that so much.
Well, actually, speaking of poor visibility, there's one of the maps in the upcoming knockout. It's Raiders. I remember playing or watching that from the shoutcaster's perspective the first minute, and I thought, I've made the biggest mistake ever. I've made the biggest mistake ever. And eventually, the players they got it, and they turned on their night vision goggles, because it's all green. It's completely green, and the opponents are also all green. So it's terrible.
And it's all just the vegetation and leaves and stuff. You can just hide in them.
Yeah,
so.
but seriously,
pro tip: use night vision goggles.
I really like Raiders, the map. I think it was one of the first or one of the new maps that were actually shipped with 4.2 together with Bohemia. Yeah, that's the word. So I just like the visual style of it. It kind of reminds me of Maya. That map, which was with teleporters, completely confusing.
Yeah, and some Stargates. It was lovely.
Yeah, so God, still, if there's any raiders on a pub server and I'm browsing through the servers, I usually immediately join that one, because in my opinion, it well, at least back when the release was, it was one of the most visual appealing maps for me.
Absolutely. This was with 4.2, did you say that? Because I remember that we selected these maps specifically because they were all frozen sand, aside from the last two, which were Herring and Orbital. But all of the other maps were all frozen sand, and especially those first two, because they were just released. We chose those with that intention in mind.
Yeah, it was released with 4.2.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's coming your way, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, but especially Bohemia, I think of those two maps would work really well, and because just of the so very many tight corners, it would probably work really, really well for something like this.
I always hate Bohemia, to be honest. For some reason, I really don't like the map, but I like straight lines.
I actually love exactly just that. It's completely surreal. It's real lovely.
Just watching the video. Thanks for picking a video where I'm top fragging.
You're welcome. Also, KJT was actually. Except if we do we have more of the on the.
No, not really.
No.
Just keep an eye out on Facebook and Twitter of Urban Zone League, and
Yes.
It's coming your way. And of course, the homepage of Urban Zone. It will definitely be announced, and it just means that you have to log in at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday if you want to play. And please also just watch it. It's always a lot of shits and giggles. People start getting pains in their hands from playing 3 hours back to back, and it's all fun. Aside from the pain in the hands, but but yeah, let's move on to the next subject that KJT actually posted in Twitch chat. I like discussing that.
So there's also a Skeetshoot that is being right now arranged in some way.
Well, not being arranged really. I see a lot of people also on Facebook, the Urban Terror Players Facebook page, but also the Urban Terror forums. People are picking Skeetshoot up again, and it's also been like 5 years since the last Skeetshoot tournament.
Wow!
And I really have to. Yeah. That is a ton of organization. Really, that was a pain in the ass, and I have to arrange it in a different way. But I would really like to, since it's been 5 years, would not be nice to revisit it again. Sorry, one moment. I'll be right back. You guys discuss Skeetshoot a little bit further.
I suppose the thing with Skeetshoot is because it used to be done in like just a few days, I think, and so the hard thing with these things where you have loads of individual players, like 1v1 tournaments or Skeetshoot, is you need to get the right servers with the right config and all that. So
back. Sorry. There's that, and back when I organized the first 3 Skeetshoot tournaments, I had tons of help, of course, also. So thanks a lot for the admins back then. But every contestant, and I think we had a lot. I'd have to check the Urban Terror or Urban Zone forums or website.
Like 100 or so.
Yeah, well,
okay.
It may be over the years. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But what the point is that I was on every server, every match to record their demos, just so that there was proof, because we wanted to make sure that people listed their scores, that they actually played in their time slot and not on some random server that they had configured correctly, so that we actually knew that this was their live attempt. But maybe like a bot on the server or a server demos or something like that would make it a lot easier, and that we only have to shoutcast the top 10 or something like that. That would be a lot more fun.
Apparently, something like that might be possible now in 4.3, as Frozen Sand updated a lot of Arcane comments, which in the end can retrieve such information if a match is ready, the exact score, and basically everything. So I hope I can utilize that in a pickup bot eventually and have.
I remember that I
matches,
think
but
Phoenix or somebody like that also worked on a pickup bot style thing. But
yeah, the thing is, Phoenix always wanted to have it with the B3 bot.
Yeah.
The thing is, what I would, or I, well, I don't know if I should propose it because that would just increase my workload. But there is actually an option to have now a remote bot, which means you don't have to access the server log, but rather can, I don't know, spam an Arcane comment every second and then retrieve all the information, which is kind of really neat.
Well, either way, I mean, it's nice that people are starting to play it again, and if something like that could be organized, I mean, there's still this map, and I feel so bad about it. Really, you don't want to know, but Johnny English made this Skeetshoot map for, well, the year that it didn't get played. And after for the year after that, he updated the graphic only slightly, but he updated it and it didn't get played again. And yeah, I felt really bad about that. He knows I felt bad about that, but yeah, wouldn't really need to contact him and well, get that map played. But this game type actually has a lot more possibilities, really, because me and Johnny English also talked about like a sort of parkour that you would first have to shoot 5 skeet, for instance, then you can pass on to, like a ninja warrior kind of thing, but then urban terror style. Shoot 5 skeet and then you can pass the next barrier, then throw a grenade in the basket and then pass the next barrier, etc., 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 and include jumps, so that you could have a timed and skilled map, if you get my drift.
That actually sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, actually, he got quite far with that. What's it called? Heckler and Koch 69 nade launcher actually worked as well as an as an extra barrier. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, but it never really got finished, as many projects in Urban Terror actually.
Well, yeah. But I mean,
But
I still
anyway,
love
so,
the plan. It's just a lovely idea still. Anyways.
Absolutely. So who knows? Maybe Skeetshoot 2017 will happen, but well,
Yeah.
that's usually always in September, so we still have some time.
Yeah. Something more to put on the to-do list to stress over.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, furthermore, just I mean, we already. I mean, I don't know. Are we running over? I don't know. Well, I mean, we don't really have any set time for how long this podcast goes, so.
Never invite me.
I mean, that is why we're all here, just to keep on talking. So we just love to hear ourselves and hear the others. So this is perfect. Where was I? Oh yeah. So another thing that also some people were a little bit confused by, probably because they were thinking completely different things than I was thinking, is one of the topics have been written on both ISC and Discord and everywhere else, has been the design of a King of the Hill tournament. Now, not the King of the Hill game mode, which some people thought we were actually talking about, but instead, I have already alluded to this quite a few times before, by me just talking about this, but there's this wonderful tournament that I heavily would suggest anyone interested in StarCraft to check out, or if not even just casually interested in StarCraft. There's this StarCraft Kings, and the idea with it is that it is a game, specifically a King of the Hill tournament. So the idea is you always have one person or one team as the current King of the Hill, and then you always throw a new team to challenge the current king. You only get, as a team, one attempt to take on the throne. If you are able to get the throne, you are then going to be the king until you are dethroned by another team. And that has been doing for some pretty cool drama, at least for this StarCraft one. So I was always thinking that could be pretty cool for like a one-day event, also for Urban Terror. But then of course it would have to be changed in a lot of ways, because obviously in a 1 versus 1 like that, it is, and if you just convert it directly, it doesn't really work very well. So I was thinking to just throw ideas at people, and then we could just maybe talk about exactly how you could do it if you actually would want to do a tournament like this. Then we'll also have to figure out things about maybe sponsorship and other things, but one step at a time.
We already have this. It's called the Nations Cup, and France has won this like every time, and we're just waiting for someone to beat France.
True enough. Well, I suppose that's also spoilers for the Nations Cup for me then. Yeah, cool. That's right.
That's it. Did you not know?
Yeah, but yeah, you also told me that the last time, so who cares?
Oh, I saw it twice.
I really like the idea, but I think that the second thing you brought up, sponsorship, I think that that's pretty much the only way, because you don't want to do it 1v1 because that's not as interesting, in my opinion. You wanted to have teams, and for teams to be available for a whole day. Don't forget that this is they're not playing most of the time, they're just waiting most of the time.
Yeah,
because
they would be then getting a time slot off. You would be picked at some times the point, and if you stay on, you would be staying for the rest of the day. So you wouldn't say to everyone, we're starting at 14, you just be ready for all of the time. You would then say, okay, these 5 would be the first 5 teams, you would be the first 5 to pick, be ready at 14, and then you could always pick and shuffle between them to make sure you always have one that is actually available. But the idea, what I was thinking when trying to change this a little bit around, was still you have the current king choose the next map to play off the map pool, but you are not allowed to pick a map that has already been picked until all of the map pool has been exhausted. So we're always guaranteed to see new maps, and we're not going to be seeing Turnpike all the time. Also, if there's going to be a prize pool, it would of course be that if you win one map, you get 1/nth for N teams, of course, 1/nth of the prize pool all in all for each and every map. So it's not who is actually on the throne at the very end. It is just how many maps can you get. And yes, the next challenger is also just similar to actually what it would be inspired by, always chosen just by the admins, something that the players are completely unknown for, so there's not going to be like a heavy schedule of who's going to play exactly when. So we can just say, oh, this guy is now the king, and it would be pretty fun to see them go up against this guy. But specifically about being a 1 versus 1, as you say, Seven, that would work really awfully, I think, also. So instead, I was thinking, I don't know if it should be like 2, 3, or 4, but I think 4 would be too many for each team. But I was still thinking a freeze tag insta-gib, because why the hell have it been anyway serious?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think that the only way, because it's so out there, the only way that you can know if it's going to be a success is just do it. That sounds weird.
Probably right, yeah.
I've never really played freeze tag, so I'm not really used to how it works.
So apparently freeze tag, as far as I understand, is Team Survivor, but you are not killed, but just frozen, so you can have a teammate revive you.
So then you can you sort of medic them to get them back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is insta-gib, so if you're hit, you're instantly frozen.
Yeah. But it's kind of weird, like, it's not simply kill all the enemies and you win the round, it's kill the enemies and then kill them again and again and until they're all dead at the same time. And then you've
make sure that they don't get medics.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you just camp on top of 1 or 2 of them that you already got,
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's insta-skip, so you can pretty much turn around.
Yeah, it's kind of different with Team Survivor because you have to keep track of the dead enemies even after you've killed them.
Mm. So I mean, and that is also why I would think that maybe 4 people would be too many. So I think 3 would be would be maybe the sweet spot, maybe 2. I don't know. Well, but still, yeah. I was thinking that, and maybe you should have just a 15 minutes timer on each map, or 10-minute timer probably. But I was hoping that maybe you could get it for 8 rounds, and then 2 minutes on each round instead. Just to actually keep the hype up and keep the drama going, because I mean that is the whole point of this, to keep have a very dramatic tournament. So instead of having 15 minutes, 12 rounds, or maybe not 8 rounds because that's a round number, but 9 or 13 rounds maybe, and then 2 minutes each, 3 minutes each. I mean, it is freeze tag, so probably should be 3 minutes each, right? But is this idea just so really weird that maybe it is just to actually write down all the rules and try to figure it out?
It's a unique one. Yeah, I have no idea how it was pan out.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to predict how teams would, if they would be interested, or if random people would be interested. That's the thing that's the point that I was trying to make with regard to sponsorship. Is that going to be necessary to get people to play it? I hope not, of course, but.
Well, I mean, it does help with the drama, but I mean, you could always say this guy has been having still a map spree of 3 or 4. That is still something to talk about. Someone dominating. So it goes to.
Actually, when Freeze Tag was originally released, we planned at Urban Zone to host a Freeze Tag Cup instead of a Summer Cup, or basically as at that time a Skeetshoot replacement, because at that time we didn't host the Skeetshoot, and we thought maybe throw in some fun cup with freeze tag. But back then I think it wasn't that popular. Nobody played it on public. We asked a couple clans if they would participate, and nobody really said, hey, let's do it, it's all fun and so on. So based on that, we dropped the idea, but originally it was planned to host on Urban Zone at least a 5-on-5 cup or so, but yeah, didn't turn out well, sadly.
Yeah, well, I mean, this will probably not be a replacement for it, because this is just maybe a little bit too stupid for that.
Yeah, well, it was planned to be, or it should have been played in September, which at that point was usually taken for the Skeetshoot tournament. So that's why we came up with a replacement thing. But yeah, it shouldn't be.
Well, so yeah, I'll just think further with the idea, and also begin maybe to look at what can be done with it. Find a date, probably, though I have to find a possible time where I also have time in my own calendar. And that is something that I certainly am not going to be finding much of, possibly in the next little bit of time. Especially, I mean...
Yeah, why is that? Why don't you have a lot of time?
Well, I mean, except for all of the stuff that I also have been talking about maybe lately with, like... I have to take way too much stuff on my shoulders, but also... I have actually just put in what's it called? Well, I asked if I wanted to be part of, or if they wanted to have me to be part of Frozen Sand, to help them with actually making movie content, video content in one way or the other, and they are really thrilled about it, as far as I have heard. So, like, really thrilled. So. There's a little bit of paperwork that I still have to go through, but all in all, in a little bit of time, I should begin rolling some content if there's anything that I can make directly from Frozen Sand, and hopefully I can make it beautiful.
So now it's Frozen Sand Ikslorin, so people can. And I remember when I joined Frozen Sand, this was like some years ago, but public servers were still very popular, and I joined a public server. All the people of Frozen Sand, so they could ban a whole group. They banned the fucking developers of the game off of a public server. Like, wow, great, thanks guys that I got to join your exclusive band of guys that get banned from this random public server. Oh god.
Wow, someone really has a spite with you, apparently. Wow. Well.
Congrats,
That's something
mate.
I have to look forward to.
But congrats that you joined Frozen Sand.
Thank you.
I'm now the odd one out.
Yeah, Maku, when is your time? Well, do you have any talents? Well, yeah, you sure do, but do you have anything which could contribute to Urban Terror and Frozen Sand, the development in general?
Can you juggle five
I
mice
can't.
at the same time?
I'm good at killing the competition in this game.
Ooh.
And with that, we end it.
By the way, I get to come back on one thing. I sent Sashka a message with regard to one of her first topics about the video contest. I asked him, do you know when the video contest will be finished? He says at the end of this month. That's what Biddle tells me. I don't know what Biddle has to do with that, but okay.
I don't know. It said the same to me. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in the forums he posted that the deadline, or we have to wait till tonight, but
Yeah.
oh well. Well, we went on that topic already, and
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
gonna start the rant
No.
again.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll just do the vote on all the videos, try and be as unbiased as possible, and then HD Development can do with it whatever they want. I'm not going to put my name on that. Nevertheless,
I put yours on the video. I'm sorry.
well, I mean, it was lovely to be in.
Yeah. Oh well.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't so exactly from a live shoutcast, but it's fine. So yeah, nevertheless, thank you all three here for joining tonight. It's been really lovely, and also a nice discussion.
My pleasure. Thanks for organizing it as usual.
It is wonderful to have, and also always I can just sit back and have just people with higher intelligence than me, at least in Urban Terror, to just speak, and I can soak up wonderful stuff. So all in all, it's just pro for pro. Yeah, whatever. Forget it. I'll just.
One last little exclusive information. Sashka says the results will be available the 12th of May.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, it was originally scheduled to the 15th of April. So,
No, you
well,
weren't
it's
going to be
just
salty,
4 months,
guys, so
4 weeks.
You
no problem.
weren't going to be salty.
No, not at all. You hear? I'm not salty. Never.
Ghost could fill up the Dead Sea. Okay.
So yeah, should we let's say good night. And the video or the VOD of this podcast will, as always, be up on YouTube as quickly as humanly possible, and with the MP3 version in the description should you want to listen to us on the go instead. You can put it on your MP3 player or your phone if you're that fancy, and then listen to us. It's wonderful. Thank you all. Good night. Thank you for listening.
Good night.